And so glow up is our theme this month. So let me just go back for a moment. And again, welcome everyone to Rockland CSL. I want to start by acknowledging Rev Joan for closing out our September of the collective harvest and opening our October with Glow Up. So listen, so tomorrow is Indigenous Peoples Day. And I want to invite us all to recognize the significance of that holiday. When I was growing up, and probably even recent, that holiday was known as what? Christopher Columbus Day, right? Which even as a child didn't mean much to me, because I was that kid in the 3rd grade in social studies who would ask the question, but the Indians were here, so how did he discover anything? And then I would get like, I would get in trouble for asking these questions. I will be told to be quiet and listen. But it never sat with me, even as a child, that we were celebrating someone who did not discover anything, because you can't discover something where there's been people living for thousands of years, right? So I won't get started on that. I'm having flashbacks of Mrs. Applebaum chastising me about my inquisitiveness, let's say. So we honor the Indigenous peoples, and we know that we can learn much from their ancient wisdom. So one way that we can glow up spiritually is by acknowledging and honoring the truth. We do not have to keep aligning with that which we know is not true. And so we can honor the land by tending the soil of our own minds with the same reverence and care that we need to tend to the soil of the earth. That's what our Native Americans, brothers and sisters and siblings teach us. And our very topic today, the title of our topic, "The Holy Land is Everywhere," is a quote from Black Elk. And if you don't know who Black Elk is, he was a Lakota holy man. He was a mystic, a visionary. And this quote, I agree with you, Chris, it's hard to find quotes in the New Thought space that speaks to the holy anything, and the Holy Land is Everywhere is by Black Elk. So what aligns with the Holy Land is Everywhere is in our teachings, right? Where we say the only God there is omnipresent. The only God there is omnipresent. And we often say, especially in affirmative prayer, that everywhere I am, God is, right? So the Holy Land is everywhere. And Chris guided us through a beautiful meditation to remind us to have ourselves centered in that knowingness. And Chris, the colors that kept coming up for me would change from like a burnt orange to a bright yellow. And then it would go almost like the colors in this picture behind me, a burnt orange and then a bright yellow. And it was beautiful, the warmth that I felt in my own Holy Land. So let us remember that wherever you are, God is. And so the Holy Land is exactly where you are right here and right now. So one of our core beliefs says, we believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. In the Science of Mind magazine, there's a page that says, what we believe. And what I just shared with you is one of the core beliefs of our teachings. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. So when we understand that the Holy Land is everywhere, including where you are right here and right now, and also in whatever you are experiencing, then we know also that eternal goodness is there as well. Ernest writes in the Science of Mind text, to believe in the good alone may seem wrong to many, but one who thus believes will find their path lightened by a torch which flickers not nor fails. I'm going to read that again. To believe in the good alone may seem wrong to many, but one who thus believes will find their path lightened by a torch which flickers not nor fails. So that light, that divine spark that Ernest is referring to, is the spark within us. It is that holy land within us. It is lit by a torch that flickers not nor fails. The torch is lit by the omnipresence of God itself. So no matter what happens, your divine spark remains lit, even when it seems as if it is out. Sometimes I feel like that light is out. Does anyone else feel that way sometimes? When I'm going through a challenge, when I'm going through an upset, sometimes it's hard to feel that light within me. And yet, it is there. It is there because God is omnipresent. So I know we all have some testimonies that seem like the worst thing possible is happening. And yet, those very challenges, those very things that we say are the worst things that could happen, transform into blessings that reveal God's eternal goodness. So when Ernest says to believe in the good alone may seem wrong to many, we have that experience many, many times in our lives where we are going through something and we're like, I believe that this too is for my highest good. And our friends might look at us like we got two heads. How could you say you just lost your job, that this too is for my good? How can you say you just ended a relationship, that this too is for my highest good? Now, we don't get there a lot of times immediately, right? But it helps us, supports ourselves in knowing that the good alone may seem wrong to many, but one who thus believes will find their path lightened by a torch which flickers not nor fails. So that which appears devastating often becomes the very fire that ignites our divine spark. So today, if you are going through something, give yourself some encouragement by knowing that this very thing that you are going through right here and right now often becomes the very fire that ignites your divine spark. Can we know that now? Can we know that now? Ernest Holmes reminds us, we must relight the torch of our imagination by fire taught by heaven. Can someone let in Dr. Albert? He's in the waiting room, please.
You're muted.
Have I been muted that whole time?
No, I clicked it by mistake trying to let him in.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, whoa, Lord. Okay. So there are times when life calls you to reignite. Yes. To remember your passion, y'all, is your divine spark. That your gift is your divine spark. And that your purpose is to use that divine spark to set the world ablaze with love consciousness. So nature always reminds me of my divine spark, especially when it feels like it's on a dimmer, right? So last week, one of my dreams came true. I finally saw the redwood trees. Has anyone seen the redwoods? Ah, Jan, so you know what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness, y'all. So you know, in the last several years, I have grown fond of the trees. And the redwoods have been the trees that I really, really, really wanted to see up close and personal. So I got to visit the Armstrong Redwood State Natural Reserve, and it was everything. It was like complete awe. And the redwoods are known as towers of power because they are so tall. They like reach all up into the clouds. And I got the opportunity to touch them, to lay my head on them, and to feel the pulse, that vibration. And I'm telling you, it synced up my breath, my heartbeat synced up with the pulse, the vibration of those trees. And so as I was walking along the trails, I saw that some of the trees had burnt marks on them. They were like black in certain areas. And I started to get really curious about this and found a plaque that talked about the fire ecology of redwoods and that fire serves their growth. The plaque said, redwoods have remarkable fire resistance. When a fire reaches the heartwood, it creates a cavity. The tree adapts by strengthening its base on either side, forming a buttress that provides additional stability. The core of a redwood is called heartwood. You gotta love that. Heartwood. And when a fire reaches it, it creates a cavity, this opening, right? And what the tree does is grows outward on either side to provide itself with more stability. So I want to show y'all this. I took a little video of it because it is extraordinary. And y'all let me know if y'all could see this. Okay, I'm gonna play it. That's the cavities.
That's crazy. Did you take a picture of my home too?
Uh-huh. This is where I'm gonna live, y'all.
Right next door to
Right
me.
next door to BB. She's right around the bend.
So I don't know if y'all could hear the sound in the background. That was my cousin and a friend. And we decided that we were going to live in these cavities. And so that was my home in the redwood cavity, and hers was down the road as well. But do you see that? The fire creates this cavity. The tree doesn't fall, it doesn't die. It strengthens itself by growing outward on both sides. That is amazing. That is amazing. And so it made me think about us, right? And the fires in our lives, right? Those disappointments, those challenges, those obstacles, those things that we feel like are consuming us like a fire. And instead, of knocking us down, of destroying us. It grows us. It strengthens us. It anchors us in the omnipresence of God within us. What appears to be a hollowed cavity is really this fortress that is growing within us to anchor us even more securely in the truth of who we are. Look at what nature teaches us if we would just pay attention to it. Always giving us exactly what we need. So, even the redwoods that do fall, because I did see some redwoods that have fallen, and their roots, oh my God. It's like I have this picture, I'm standing in front of one of the redwoods that have fallen, and all you see are the roots. And it is massive. And I'm standing in front of it, and it's like a scene from the Game of Thrones. It is massive. I should have shown you the picture, but it is massive, right? And so I learned that even the redwoods that fall serve a purpose. And the redwoods, the purpose that they serve is that the redwoods produce millions of seeds, but only a few ever germinate because the thick layer of the decaying material on the forest floor prevents the seeds from penetrating and getting to the mineral soil, right? And what it takes for that penetration to happen are floods and fires. So I'm pretty sure you've heard that fires are good for forests to grow, to regerminate naturally, right? So I'm not talking about the forest fires that are set by human beings. There's a natural course. There's a natural flow to nature that requires no assistance from us if we would just let it be. Just let it be. So, like the redwoods, I started thinking about that when I read it, that it has millions of seeds, but only a tiny few germinate and penetrate the mineral soil, like us. We have millions of seeds that we call our thoughts. Millions, well, maybe not millions, thousands and thousands of thoughts a day, right? We have thoughts, we have ideas, we have intentions, but often they can't take root because of the duff. That's what the forest floor is called. It's called the duff. And so the thoughts can penetrate our duff, which is our limiting beliefs, our fears, our worries that cover our subconscious mind. And sometimes the very floods and fires of life make a clearing for those thoughts, those seeds to penetrate and take root and bloom. So everything, if we could take that in, everything, every win and every wound serves the divine spark within us. One of my favorite Bible verses is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to give you a hope and a future. I know the plans I have for you. They are to prosper us, to grow us. And so the redwoods teach us that the prospering, that the growing comes through everything. The fires, the floods serve a purpose, a divine purpose in our lives. The other thing that I learned from the redwoods that they can teach us is the power of community. The redwoods, there were so many of them, but it wasn't just redwoods. There were other trees there. There were plants, there were insects, there were little animals. It was amazing, right? It's the place is a nature reserve. And so the way that the power of community shows itself in the redwoods is that the redwoods roots are very shallow. You would think something so tall would have really deep roots, but they don't. Their roots are only 12 feet deep. But being 12 feet deep, they extend outward 150 feet. And they interlock with the other roots, becoming one in community. The redwoods roots don't just interlock with other redwood roots, they interlock with other trees because the diversity serves everyone, nurtures everyone, and they understand that, right? Our interconnectedness is our strength. The Holy Land is not a place, it's the space between us where we get to interlock, to interweave with each other, to share our diversity with each other. If we will allow our roots to intertwine in love and faith and in principle. Our companion book this month is Braiding Sweetgrass. And if you don't have this book, it was gifted to me by Julian, who's on with us today. It's an amazing book. I just started getting into it this month because it's our companion book. And so it's called Sweetgrass, and the full title is Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. And it's by Robin Wall Kilmerner. And one of the things that she shares in the book is a story. She interweaves ancient wisdom, story, science in this book. And one of the stories that she shares is in a chapter called Burning Sweetgrass. And she tells the story of 8 fire prophecies. So I want to share these with you quickly. The first fire prophecy is when people honored the land and were given powerful spiritual teachings, which they were to follow for the good of the people and for the good of the land. The people understood oneness. The second fire prophecy told them to move west, and the people became divided, and they split it into 3 groups who took different routes to see their homes from around the Great Lakes. The third fire prophecy, the groups reunited and found the place foretold in prophecy where the food grows on the water. The people lived well for a long time under the care of nature, and the spiritual teachings that had guided them kept the people strong together as they flourished in the bosom of their non-human relatives. Looks like things are getting better, right? The fourth fire prophecy, there were two prophets that rose among the people, and they foretold the coming of the light-skinned people in ships from the east. But their visions, these two prophets had different visions that differed in what was to follow. One prophet said the light-skinned people came in brotherhood and they would bring great knowledge. The other prophet sounded a warning. He said that what looks like the face of brotherhood might be the face of death. How would the people know which prophet was true? The fifth fire prophecy saw the burial of the people's spiritual teachings. The people were forbidden by the light-skinned people to practice their own religion, speak their own languages. Families were separated, and people lost their way and their purpose in life. The sixth fire prophecy showed the cup of life will almost become the cup of grief. And yet, even after all of this, there is something that remains, a coal that has not been extinguished. Remembering the first fire prophecy from so long ago, the people were told that it is their spiritual lives that will keep them strong. And the seventh fire prophecy was received from a prophet from a strange and distant land with light in his eyes. The young man came to the people with a message that in the seventh fire, a new people would emerge with a sacred purpose. It would not be easy for them. They would have to be strong and determined in their work, for they stood at a crossroads. We are in the time of the seventh fire prophecy. The author writes, the people of the seventh fire walk among us. We are the people of the seventh fire prophecy. She writes, they are using the fire sticks of the original teachings to restore health to the people and to help them bloom again and bear fruit. The seventh fire prophecy presents a second vision for the time that is upon us. It tells that all the people of the earth will see the path ahead is divided. They must make a choice in their path for the future. She writes that there are some people who know they are not alone. We know the omnipresence of God is always present where we are. Everywhere is holy land. Where we stand, we know that we are not alone. They know all along the path, non-human people help. Who are these non-human people? The spiritual realm, our ancestors, nature are here to support us. What knowledge the people have forgotten is remembered by the land. Nature will show us the way. Our true nature will show us the way. Collectively, we assemble from the wisdom of the past a vision for the future. What is that saying? When you don't learn from the past, you'll repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until you learn it. And this country hasn't learned yet. But we are the people who know the truth. We are the people, all of us are at a crossroads. And we get to make a decision, make a choice that is in alignment with the omnipresence that we are, the God in us, the God as us. We get to see and vision a future that is rooted in oneness, that is rooted in unity, that knows that we need each other, that we are intertwined, that we cannot do this alone. So the spiritual leaders interpreted this prophecy as the choice between the deadly path of materialism that threatens the land and the people, and the green path, which is the soft path of wisdom, respect, and reciprocity that is held in the teachings of the first fire prophecy. It is said that if the people choose the green path, then all people will go forward together to light the eighth and final fire, the fire of peace and oneness, forging the great nation that was foretold long ago. She asked the question, and I asked you the same question. What will it take for us to light the eighth fire? We must provide the world with the knowledge and the wisdom to use the power of fire for good. For good. The spark itself is a mystery, but we know that before the fire can be lit, we have to gather timber, right? The timber are our thoughts. And that the practices that we know will nurture that flame. So what thoughts are you nurturing? What feelings are you igniting? What actions are you willing to take to keep the spark lit? We are the ones, y'all. We are at a crossroads now. There is seemingly a great divide. And we get to choose. We get to choose. You are the ones who hold the spark that cannot be extinguished. The kindling of this fire is a holy, sacred thing. And as Black Elk told us, the Holy Land is everywhere. Everywhere. The question that I ask is, do you know the Holy Land is within you? That you have all of the resources that you need. That a way shall be shown. That what looks like a fire that will destroy you is the very thing that will open you up and stretch you and grow you so that you can move forward on that green path that leads to that first fire prophecy, that we are one. That we are one. So, that divine spark is needed because here we are again at the crossroads. And so may we use the tools of our teachings, ancient wisdom. May we use the tools of our ancestors. May we use the tools of nature. May we use the tools of our true nature and take action from the cavity of this knowingness that there is a power for good in the universe that is greater than we are, and that we can use it for good. Will you walk the green path? by sharing your gifts, by living your passion, by giving what you are here to give and to receive so that we can keep giving in oneness. The path of oneness or the path of separation. It's as simple as that. So I want to anchor this with a video that I found that talks about Black elk and the story of the Great Circle. And I just invite you to go within and connect with that holy land that is within you, the knowingness that is within you, and to know again that we have all of the resources within us, all of the resources within us to walk the green path, the path of oneness,